In the history of warfare, there are empires that won many battles. Rome won hundreds. The Mongols won thousands. Napoleon won dozens before he lost everything. But I want to tell you about a kingdom that did something almost no one in history has ever done. For 600 years, they never lost their land, not once, not to the Mongols, not to the Delhi Sultanate, not even to the Mughal Empire, the most powerful empire in Asia at the time. The Mughals attacked them 17 times, and they lost every single time. I'm talking about the Ahom Kingdom, a small kingdom in the jungles of northeastern India that became one of the greatest military stories in all of human history, and almost nobody in the West has ever heard of them. The story begins in 1228 AD. A prince named Kaelung Sukhafe left his homeland in present-day Myanmar with just 9,000 followers. They crossed the dangerous Patkai Mountains, one of the most difficult mountain ranges in Asia, and they arrived in the Brahmaputra Valley, a vast, fertile land in what is now Assam, northeastern India. Now here's what makes Sukhafe remarkable. Most conquerors arrive somewhere new and immediately try to crush the local people. Not Sukhafe. He did something completely different. He befriended the local tribes. He learned their customs. He married into local families. He built alliances, not enemies. And slowly, peacefully, he built a kingdom. This was the Ahom Kingdom. And it would last for 598 years, from 1228 all the way to 1826. That's longer than the United States has existed, by about 400 years. Now, to understand why the Ahom story is so incredible, you need to understand who they were fighting: the Mughal Empire. At its peak, the Mughal Empire controlled most of the Indian subcontinent. Population: 150 million people. Army: hundreds of thousands of soldiers. War elephants. Artillery. The works. Every kingdom in India, from the Rajputs to the Marathas, eventually had to deal with the Mughals. Most of them lost. The Mughals under Emperor Aurangzeb controlled more land than any empire in Indian history. And Aurangzeb wanted Assam. So in 1662, he sent his best general, Mir Jumla, with a massive army to finally crush the Ahom Kingdom. Mir Jumla was not just any general. He had never lost a battle. He marched into Assam with cannons, cavalry, war elephants, the full force of the Mughal military machine. And for a moment, it seemed like it was over for the Ahoms. Mir Jumla captured the Ahom capital. The Ahom king had to flee into the jungle. The Mughal flag flew over Assam. But the Ahoms were not done. Here's what Mir Jumla didn't count on: the jungle. Assam in the 17th century was a vast, dense, impossibly difficult terrain. Monsoon rains turned roads into rivers. Rivers became walls. The jungle swallowed armies whole. The Mughal soldiers, used to the open plains of northern India, were completely lost. Diseases spread through the Mughal camp. Supply lines collapsed. Soldiers died not from battle, but from the environment itself. And the Ahoms knew every inch of this jungle. They used guerrilla warfare, attacking at night, disappearing into the forest, cutting off Mughal supply lines. Mir Jumla, the general who had never lost, died in Assam, not in battle, from disease and exhaustion. The Mughals signed a peace treaty and retreated. Round 1, Ahoms win. But the Mughals came back. In 1671, Emperor Aurangzeb sent another army, this time under Ram Singh, one of the most respected Mughal commanders. Ram Singh arrived with 30,000 soldiers, 21 war elephants, 18,000 cavalry, and a powerful river fleet. The Ahoms were outnumbered, badly, but they had a secret weapon. His name was Lachit Borfukan. And what Lachit did next is considered one of the greatest military victories in Asian history. He looked at Ram Singh's massive army and made a decision. We can't beat them on land, so we won't fight on land. He forced the entire battle onto the Brahmaputra River. Lachit rebuilt the Ahom naval fleet in secret. He trained his soldiers for river warfare. And when Ram Singh's army arrived, Lachit was waiting on the water. The Battle of Saraighat was fought in the Brahmaputra River in 1671. The Mughal fleet, massive, powerful, was destroyed. Ram Singh retreated. The Mughals never attacked Assam again. After 17 attempts, 17 failures, the greatest empire in Asia gave up. Let's talk about Lachit Borfukan for a moment, because this man deserves to be mentioned in the same breath as any great military commander in history. During the Battle of Saraighat, Lachit was sick, seriously sick. He was so ill that his commanders wanted him to rest on the riverbank and let others lead the battle. Lachit refused. He said, "My country cannot wait for me to recover." He climbed onto his warboat sick, weak, barely able to stand, and personally led the charge against the Mughal fleet. His presence inspired his entire army, and they won. Now ask yourself, how many military heroes like Lachit have you heard about in school? Probably none, because the world doesn't teach South Asian history, and that is exactly why this channel exists. The Ahom Kingdom finally ended in 1826, not because they were defeated in war, but because of internal conflicts and a Burmese invasion that weakened them enough for the British to take over. But their legacy is extraordinary: 600 years of rule, 17 Mughal invasions, 17 defeats for the Mughals, a kingdom built on trust, not conquest. The Ahoms also created something remarkable, a society where different ethnic groups, religions, and languages lived together peacefully. Hindus, Muslims, animists, all lived under Ahom rule. They built massive dams and irrigation systems. They created their own unique script and literature. They were poets, engineers, and warriors all at the same time. And today, in Assam, every year on November 24th, they celebrate Lachit Divas, a holiday honoring Lachit Borfukan, the greatest naval victory in Indian history. So the next time someone says the Mughals conquered all of India, you can correct them, because deep in the jungles of northeastern India, there was a kingdom that looked the greatest empire in Asia directly in the eye and said, "No, not today, not ever, for 600 years. If this story amazed you, hit subscribe, because on Jiten Scrolls we find the stories that the history books forgot. And trust me, we're just getting started. I'm Jiten, and I'll see you in the next one.